Good morning and welcome to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens. I'm so grateful to be here this morning with you. Um, and as you're coming in, let me get set up. I hope you're having a wonderful morning today. I hope you found yourself in a great place today. Even though here in New England and along the East Coast, we've been having some storms, some heavy winds, but we're still here. That means we have something to do and we have assignment to do. The question today is, are you in the right place? Are you in the best seat for yourself even today? And that's what we want to talk about. And it may seem as though, there's a one track here, but there's not. So let me again welcome you to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens. I am your host, Yvette C. Owens, where we talk about and we explore the behaviors that are in organizations. So when I say company, I'm not just talking about business, but when people come together to achieve a vision, to service a specific population, or to bring products to a specific marketplace, then you are a company. So even if you're in ministry, you are a company when you're servicing that organization. And I get it. We have the different terminologies, but flow with me if you will, because every concept that I share within company culture applies to both ministry, to community movements, as well as to the small, medium, and large corporations. Today, musical chairs. Musical chairs. Are you in the best seat for yourself? Are you in your best seat? And I want to start off by sharing with you a situation that I've walked through in my past, and I recounted it in my book called Company Culture, my book called Conquering Corporate Enemies, Mind, Personalities, and Situations. I shared this situation where I was moving along a track leading a team, and things were going well. We actually kicked off this team. They were the first team that came on board for this project. So we were not only assimilating them to the project, but we were assimilating them to the company and the area that we were doing and the overall effort that we were serving. And we were doing really, really well, getting quite a lot of accolades and things like that. And then and all of a sudden being fair, a couple years in, um, information wasn't flowing to us as it should have been or as it had been. Information wasn't coming to us so that we could continue to be successful. Changes weren't being communicated well. We were actually allowed to go along and complete some of our assignments, and then all of a sudden, leadership came along and said, you weren't doing that right. So when I talk about musical chairs, there's different aspects because that was very painful. And I recognized the transition that was happening in that scenario. Hey, we were going along and we were really being supported really well. And all of a sudden, that support stopped like cold, like it came dead in the track, kind of cold. And so it was like, what in the world? And why is this happening? Why aren't people sharing critical information that we have no way of knowing that they knew, but they wouldn't share until after we had built some things, after we had gone down a track and implemented, and now you're going to tell us that we are not doing the right thing? That could have been shared a long time ago. So it clearly felt like we were being set up for failure. We were being set up to prove that they needed to go a different track, and it wasn't including us. So when we talk about musical chairs, there's a couple of aspects that I want to share with you. One is we can go after a position or go after a role because we see it as being glamorous. We want the finances that come with it. We want the elevation. We want to be close to certain people. The motivation may not be as pure as it should be. And then we get into that position, and all of a sudden we're frustrated. All of a sudden things aren't working well. All of a sudden you feel in your most inner core that this is rubbing up against your core values, and it does not feel good. Does not feel good. So that's the first type of scenario where you're in a chair that you actually chose, but it really has nothing to do with your purpose, or it has less to do with where you are to work out your purpose. And I'm making that distinction because it can feel like and look like it's aligning and are going along with where you're headed for your purpose and your goal, but it's not the right chair. So when it's not the right chair, because your motive in selecting that chair wasn't pure, then it's going to frustrate you. You're going to be discouraged. It's going to rub up against your core values. It's not going to serve your passion in the way that you need it to serve it. So that's first. We choose the wrong, and we intentionally, we end up in the wrong seat because we choose it for the wrong reason. The second scenario is more like the scenario that I shared earlier as I kicked off this conversation. And again, this is Yvette Owens with Company Culture with Yvette Owens. I am the author of Conquering Corporate Enemies, Mind, Personalities, and Situations, as well as the author of No Bosses Allowed, Lead to Serve and Transform. And I am a coach. And so I'm sharing these power chats with you because I know that sometimes we're in a situation where we don't know how we got there, or we do, but we don't know how to get out of it. And that's where I am here to help. I'm here that can help you see what the bigger picture is for you and build a roadmap, a strategy that you can implement. Not just a strategy that you can put up on the shelf, but a strategy, a real strategy that you can implement, work with action plans, and get yourself to the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right thing. Because that should be always our objective. Being in that right place, doing the right thing with the right people at the right time in the right way. And sometimes we want to escalate that and accelerate our journey, and we end up choosing the wrong path or the wrong chair. The other is we could be in the chair that was at the right time for us at that given time, but now times have shifted. And so now we need to find a new chair. The chair that we were in is no longer comfortable. You had that scenario just when we talk about just really practical chairs where you sat in a chair, but you sat in that chair way too long, and now it's not comfortable. And even when you get up out of that chair, you're feeling the results on the backside. You're feeling it in your legs. You're stiff because you sat in that chair too long. Can I just give you some helpful hints here? Never overstay in a place too long. So that means you have to have the purpose and your identity and your journey mapped out. You have to at least have a couple of years mapped out, or a couple of integrals, iterations mapped out, if you will, so that you at least know where you're going for that period of time. And then you build onto those cycles as you go, because now you have more information. So there is the chair that you intentionally chose, but you knew it wasn't for the right reasons. And now you have confirmation. Second is the chair that you've been in. And when you got in that chair, when you got in that position, in that role, it was right for you at that time. But now you need to make a shift. You need to make a shift. And I remember that happening to me. I was moving along, and this actually ties to an experience I had with ministry. I was in that position. I was working with young people, and all of a sudden, senior leadership started coming up against me, not letting me do the programs that we were doing for years. And we were not just repeating the same old things, but we were continuing to find new and innovative ways to engage the young people and to allow them to express their spirituality. And all of a sudden, um, parents were coming against because I was requiring more of them than where people wanted or were used to, if you will. I am never one that's going to just be in a place and you just stay stagnant. That's being stuck. And my whole line of work as a business ambassador and as a coach is to help people become unstuck. So if you try to pigeonhole me in a place where I'm leading and you want me to do the same old thing the same way year in, year out, I'm not your woman. I'm not the person for the job. I'm always going to look on how to improve, how to expand, how to make where we are a better place. Not only so those I'm serving are learning, but so that I'm learning as well, because we should be ever learners. So if you're finding yourself in a place that felt good at one time, do this for yourself. Assess what's my passion. Reassess what's my passion. Reassess your obligations. What must be in place? What you have to take care of? Is it serving your need and your requirement to still serve your children, to be there for your children? Is it maybe you have elderly parents? Is it still serving your need to be able to be flexible with your elderly parents or those you might be caring for? Is it serving your need to get to your ultimate vision and goal for yourself? And if it's not, if you feel stifled, if you feel stuck, it's time to move. And it's time to look for a new chair. It's time to move and go to a new place. And sometimes that can be scary, but can I tell you, you should be less worried about being scared and more concerned about being frustrated in a place that you no longer should be in a place where you are being discouraged, in a place where people are still doing the same thing, in a place where even the leadership and the vision is not being served well. Yeah. So, musical chairs talks about, am I in the right seat for me at the right time? And if you are not, if some of those examples as I've had that I've shared with you this morning are something that you experience, here's the things you should do. Take some time, step back, and assess. That means really go deep within yourself to figure out, what are my core values? And is this place serving my core values? When I say that, one of my core values is that I'm continuously learning. I'm able to have strong collaboration with people, and we're able to innovate in that collaboration, build upon where we are. We're able to interact with those that we're serving. Can I tell you that first scenario that I talked about where we were doing really well, and then all of a sudden things were cut off from us? Information was cut off. We were actually pulled back from being able to interact with our business customers. How can I serve those that I'm really developing products and services for if I can't even interact with the one that I am, who is my end user? So that those signs started to show me that I was not in the right place any longer. And I needed to look for a new place. I needed to be able to move to a new place. And if you're not ready for that, it can feel very hurtful, because people were withholding information. And again, I recount this in my book, Conquering Corporate Enemies with Mind, Personalities, and Situations. And if you want some help because you're finding yourself stuck, if you want help in moving along and you have all of this vision and you see all of these possibilities in your head for your organization, if you're a leader in an organization, or for your own personal growth, and you just need help with developing a roadmap, I'm happy to connect with you so we can coach you into your next. And don't be intimidated. Don't be put off by those who say, oh, you're just chasing after. That plan may cause you to make some changes that doesn't make sense to other people. And guess what? It doesn't have to make sense to the world. It's your plan. It's your plan. So, again, if you are finding yourself stuck in a situation that felt good at one time, but no longer feels good, or it felt kind of squishy, or maybe it is, or maybe it's not the right place when you went in it, and now you have confirmation it wasn't the right place, and you need a way out, and a way, and not only a way out, but you need to understand the way to your better next seat. Let's connect so that we can get you a plan on how, and get you a better understanding on how to really identify what your passion is, what's that right place for you, and balancing it with your obligations. What is the type of environment and the culture? So we look at jobs or roles, but we don't know necessarily how to assess the culture because that goes along with it. Do you know how to ask the right questions about the culture that you're getting ready to step into? Culture is king. Can I tell you that? Culture is king. So that position and that what you're going after, that role, may sound and look well on paper, but if that culture is not supporting your needs and where you're heading, it's not right for you. So, again, if you have a lot in your head, if you're not having clarity around where you're headed, and you know you have some many achievements to accomplish, and you want to get on that achievement track, reach out to me. Let's connect. Let's at least have a power chat so that we can develop a strategy, an initial strategy for you that's not going to be one that you leave on the shelf, but it's going to be one that gets you down the road to that next position. And you won't be just moving from chair to chair because you have no idea what chair you need to be sitting in, but you will intentionally move to the next chair that serves you and your vision and your goals and your objectives and your purpose. Change is not bad, but when it's bad change or unplanned change, that's bad. Make it a purposeful change. And I would love to connect with you. You can contact me and reach out to me, find out more about me at thediplomatchronicles.com. Follow me on YouTube at Yvette C. Owens, or on Facebook at Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, or the Diplomat Chronicles, or even my personal page, Yvette C. Owens. On Instagram, it's at Destiny Speak. Look, it's time to get unstuck. And don't feel bad about being stuck. We've all been there. As I shared on the onset of this broadcast, I found myself stuck in a place that at one time was a good seat, but it no longer was. It turned out that it no longer was, not because of me, but because of the change in the culture. And so let's continue to stay connected. Let's get you on the right track to get you moving and in the right seat for you at this particular time. Have an awesome day. I welcome your comments. I welcome your questions. And until next Thursday and until the rest of the week, please be safe. Be encouraged. You don't have to stay in a place where you're feeling stuck. You don't have to even have your team stay in a place where you all are feeling stuck. Let's connect so we can move you, your teams, your organizations forward. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye-bye.